Portal is one of the most beloved series in the history of gaming. It transformed a few people out of college into major successes way before the indie scene explosion of today, and has 2 legendary games that pushed open the puzzle game genre. I am not the most experienced person when it comes to puzzle games, as I've only played the Portal games in Limbo, but I got a lot of love for the series, especially for the first game. There is an old but fun game here if you take your time with it, and it has some pretty interesting development history. Portal 1 evolved from another game, WEEEERRREEEE, and it was created by a senior group project at DigiPen University. A first-person puzzle game where you escape hell by placing 2 doors that go through each other across the levels to platform and interact with the environment to finish. Valve executives showed WEEEERRREEE to their CEO Gabe Newell during the development team's college expo, who would take that silly little prototype and transform it into the first Portal game, keeping the gameplay the same while changing the theme to sci-fi, where the goal is to complete testing chambers with the portal gun. It could shoot a blue, an orange portal, and when both are shot, anything that goes through one must come out the other. It was a massive hit, and then a sequel came out and was like, what? Co-op? Cave Johnson? The first game left a great impression on me in 2018, and I feel myself wanting to play it every couple of months. The game isn't really challenging once you figure out the mechanics and level design, but they are so much fun and polished that I don't even really mind anymore. I could boot this game up right now and enjoy a nice hour of the game and witness the whole experience crafted by some of the most talented members of the industry. There are some gripes I will get into, but I think Portal is worth anyone's time, and I hope you enjoy this Tuthspecting on it. The game starts you in a small room where you wake up from this futuristic pod bed, and shortly after hearing a voice welcoming you to Aperture Science, your goal is to solve getting through each room, which the game labels as chambers. Every chamber has its own puzzle to solve, requiring you to either use the portals in place or creating some with the portal gun that you get later on. The portals have a lot of utility for different kinds of puzzles. You can send yourself, objects to carry, projectiles, all through the spaces. You might need to send a little energy pellet through 2 portals to redirect it into a pod, in order to activate a conveyor belt for you to proceed. That's a simple use of it too. When you jump from a large height, your momentum speeds up and going through a portal carries that with you. So you can just get flinged across rooms, and it's one of the most cathartic feelings you can ever get. And also, getting to completely pwn. Can't believe I'm saying pwn. These turret robots. Their voices scared me the first time I heard them.
Are you still there?
Portal is also very short. Maybe to some that's a bad thing, but for me, that means the game will grow stale as fast the more I go through it. I can see if that's a problem to some people, but Portal is also $10, which is the perfect price in today's market. Also, there are additional challenges, getting all the radios transmitted, the advanced chambers, and challenge modes. Challenge modes teach you different techniques on getting through the normal chambers if you attempt to get the best results. My favorite being Chamber 15.
Chamber 15. Chamber 15.
Chamber 15.
That if you can aim quickly, you can fling yourself to the exit starting from the entrance and skipping the entire chamber. I use that when I'm going through the campaign now, so what used to be time whittling has got me coming back over and over again. The tension and relief of solving these chambers with the cognitive thinking and puzzle solving has morphed into figuring out how to play the chamber better than previously. Truth be told, even if you solve the puzzles with prior knowledge, Portal is just fun with the central mechanic of shooting wormholes and going through them. The portals make a very nice sound when you shoot them. They look very sleek and are satisfying to look at because the view from the exit changes depending on where you're standing and looking. They tried explaining how to do this in one of the developer commentaries, and I just could not understand it. It made my brain hurt. When you toss yourself or other objects, it maintains the momentum with the physics in and out, providing a realistic satisfaction to what is realistically impossible. Why does all of this I explained matter? Because if you have the basic stuff, even if you have no level design or story that is fun, then when you put it with some good puzzles that complement it, then you just have a nice sandwich game. This makes playing the campaign a lot more interesting on a second, third, or 10th playthrough, as there are multiple ways of tackling the game. So how do they sandwich the puzzles into the game? Well, Team Nebeckler learned that conveyance in a good tutorial is very important. In Nebeckler Drop, the game just dumps a story in your face and gives you text hints on how to progress. The first several levels in Portal are really here not to test your mind yet, but to get you going on the basic mechanics so you can be ready for its hardest challenges. My favorite tutorials are the ones that don't stop what you're doing and break the pace of the game. With no words, the best ones can intuitively teach you with both easy level design and fun gameplay mechanics. Portal doesn't hold your hand even here when you don't know anything, but everything it needs to teach you gets conveyed by not a sign of text or breaking its pace, but by letting you solve its challenges yourself and deciding if you're smart enough to figure it out. Teaching the player its mechanics one by one by not letting you progress until you do. I know I am just spoiling tutorials that way, but Portal really nails it. It's the difference between learning by reading a book for several hours a day versus on-the-job experience. Moving on, I think the story does a tremendous job. Most games I play I don't really care about things like lore, and it is very tough for me to get invested. Stories just separate the things that I care most about games and pulls me away to watch a cutscene or read optional journals. I'm not about being above stories in games like they have no worth. I just don't get involved most of the time. Portal is one of those exceptions. The easiest way it does that by letting the story develop as the game is in action. You can play through the whole game top to bottom and nothing will interrupt your flow, and it's amazing. No cutscenes, which Half-Life did the same thing, and it's made by Valve. Funny enough that this game's also taking place in the same universe. It all connects. But y'all are waiting me to talk about this freak, GLaDOS.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer Aided Enrichment Center.
A mysterious robotic voice that just talks to the speakers of the facility, giving you her banter in the room, your progress, or just a little tiny bit of information. Her purpose is to gather your results from each test of the chamber that you just finished and congratulate you with a cake and a party at the end of Chamber 19. She starts just as that, but getting closer to the end, it's not subtle that maybe she is lying on that last part.
The experiment is nearing its conclusion. The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
I couldn't unfortunately not be spoiled by the big twist, that being instead of eating delicious sugar matter, GLaDOS sends you on a trip to the fire pit of tremendous fun! The meme has been everywhere across the internet and gaming culture, and was the first thing I knew about the game. Looking at the moment on its own, it is a lot of shock for a new player, yes, but it was simply the perfect punchline from an amazing setup. I can imagine how flat this would all be if you went through the game without GLaDOS pretending to make you feel safe and secure. She also did that while being the only intelligent thing you'll see in the entire facility. There are no cutscenes, you just go through chamber after chamber via an elevator. All you hear is GLaDOS' voice through the entire game. That sentence alone could have been a mess, but the writing saves GLaDOS as a concept, though she did get great voice talent to go along with it.
Did you know you can donate one or all of your vital organs to the Aperture Science Self-Esteem Fund for Girls? It's true. Unbelievable. You,
Subject name here.
must be the pride of.
Subject hometown here.
Hey GLaDOS, what's your favorite video game console? Perfect example of this comes at Chamber 17. It's a surprise both in the gameplay department as well. The only way you can progress in this chamber is by carrying this cube with a heart on it called the Aperture Science Faithful Companion Cube. It bounces back dangerous projectiles, acts as a weight for large buns, and will be your friend in need. It's a fun chamber to play, but it's elevated tenfold by GLaDOS' presence and what she makes you do with it before you move on.
You did it. The weighted companion cube certainly brought you good luck. However, it cannot accompany you for the rest of the test and, unfortunately, must be euthanized. Please escort your companion cube to the Aperture Science Center. No! More than any test subject on record. Congratulations.
I could really write a small video just talking about the impact this had on the game. For one, it raises some questions. Why? I guess it would have taken more space in the facility, but surely there are other test subjects other than us that could use it. Maybe, but I think it goes deeper than that. GLaDOS wants things to be in control and keep things on track. She sees that the character we are playing is human, and keeping the cube might make us attached to it and distract us from testing. And burning is a very harsh reminder that she wants you to be a guinea pig, which will bite her in the ass later once we take our free will and escape ourselves. This might not be a galactic conquest to save the universe or anything, but the story does a really nice job justifying the game side of the game, and it continues to evolve after you nearly escape your death. The second half of Portal is more or less the same, but played with more action and platforming. I'd like to call this the B side of Aperture Science, where everything you know gets flipped on your head. A betrayal could be seen a mile away even before Chamber 19, but the shift in tone feels dramatic. You still are in Aperture, but now seeing how dirty, old, and dangerous it really is. The colors are changed to rust, brown, and puke, green, and you tend to notice just how alone you are when you really can't find anyone. It's abandoned. There are a few times where you could see through a window of a chamber you previously completed, like someone should probably be here watching you. What happened to this place? Portal now has flipped the script in both its gameplay and story. You're not just solving short testing rooms, you're plowing through one large obstacle course trying to find GLaDOS. There are plenty of moments in this part of the game that are memorialized in my brain. These pistons are a lot of fun to climb and show off the real superpower of the portal gun. There's just this quick moment where you find a random defective turret, and it's adorable the way it's trying to murder me. The moment with this orb robot that shoots out rockets that later make you break a tube full of cubes. Unfortunately, it's only going to show up one other time after this. Great that it makes it more memorable that way, but it also feels underutilized. All the turrets GLaDOS deploys on you is such a desperate move, and I love it. Even all the turrets near the end are, well, it is pretty easy. But it is also just fun to toss them out of their holes. My highlight is going through a tube where a cube is sent out and being thrown back into Chamber 9, and now being able to shoot 2 portals. Getting through the chamber is now a cakewalk. So we are nearing the end. We have navigated the inner guts of the facility and survived all that GLaDOS has thrown at us. Now, it's time we face her. The ending is a little messy, but it is so effective. I always remember the first time I got here, and seeing the big arena outside the window and just getting goosebumps.
Well, you found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? Because despite your violent behavior, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart. Maybe you could settle for that and we'll just call it a day. I guess we both know that isn't going to happen. You chose this path. Now I have a surprise for you.
GLaDOS gives some more amazing one-sided banter, and what I appreciate now is that we're just silent in all this. It's not groundbreaking to have a silent protagonist, even then, but it does feel well here. It gives GLaDOS the most room to breathe, and we don't need our avatar reacting to all this because we just feel it already. Also, it would just cut off any bit of nuance or mystery of the game if they just had to fill out her voice lines, and actions speak for themselves. I don't need Chell going on about her life or how she got there, even potentially. What's genius is how much is actually being conveyed with only the visuals and subtext. You can make up your own mind on how things got this way or with GLaDOS. Anyways, one of GLaDOS's ball drops and I could just end it right there. Putting it into the small incinerator transforms her from maniac to psychopath, and now has the ability to fill up the room with neurotoxin. We just have 5 minutes to defeat her before the room fills up with it and we die. The fight is okay. There's nothing wrong about it. It's climactic and makes good use of our skills that we learned along the way. What you do is let this orb robot shoot out a rocket into a portal right back at GLaDOS. She will drop a personality core that you will need to quickly bring into the incinerator, and you have to do that 3 times. Each core is placed in a different location across the room, one on these pipes, one on the ceiling, and one just in midair. The real challenge is just finding and grabbing these things in the 5-minute time limit, which you will only be stressed the first time you fight her. But I love replaying this game, so I can understand that maybe this is a satisfying fight to those who only want to experience it once. On multiple refights, this is just repetitive boss structure. Wouldn't it be cool if they had an escape level after you beat her, sort of like Metroid? I mean, come on, they have a countdown place. Another thing, GLaDOS explains to herself that the first core we incinerated was part of her morality, and that was why she couldn't use the neurotoxin until now. But I don't understand what is so radically different from being burned to death 30 minutes ago to this. Was she just pre-programmed to do that? I think it's a pretty glaring plot hole to the final confrontation. I am willing to suspend my disbelief because ultimately it doesn't really matter and maybe there's just a point that I'm missing. This may sound like I hate this scene altogether, but I am really glad we got to see the foe who has persisted through the entire game, and I love how cocky she is.
Alright, keep doing whatever it is you think you're doing. Killing you and giving you good advice aren't mutually exclusive. The rocket really is the way to go.
Maybe the point of her not really challenging us is that she's overconfident and arrogant to a deadly point. I know I am talking about this a lot and it's less than 5 minutes of time spent. GLaDOS really just might be my favorite antagonist of any game, and Portal wouldn't be Portal without her, and this scene ended it off. Once she is defeated, we cut lying unconscious outside the facility, and we are dragged back inside because they need her for the sequel. The vocal song performed by GLaDOS herself, and the bittersweet irony that we just did all that it was really for nothing, and it does so very clearly by even the title of the song, Still Alive. I think by the end of my first playthrough, the whole experience left this game memorialized in my mind. I got stuck so many times and I was frustrated, but overcoming the obstacles and thinking with Portals is a much more rewarding accomplishment rather than a melodramatic victory where winning felt unsatisfied and left me with nothing. I think the first Portal game doesn't get the credit it really deserves. No shade to Portal 2, it's an amazing follow-up and has a lot of improvements and new ideas that grew the series up to become even better than the first.
Pick me up, or let's get out of here. Would you pick me up?
But the truth is that I don't go back to Portal 2 that often. Not for any cynical reason, just that I always get my fix of Portal from the first game with its shorter campaign and well-paced puzzles. GLaDOS also gets MVP for her grim comedy and steals the entire game in some ways. Portal 1 tested my thinking, not just how to solve levels, but how to do it more swiftly. I have my gripes, but nothing is perfect, and I tend to criticize the things I love the most. I am just impressed by the team learning so much and transforming a flaccid prototype into a real game, all with the pressure of having a first professional game development job. And not only that, it's Valve! I think you guys get the picture. This game is so cheap too, like $10 off of Steam. You can get both Portal 1 and 2 as a bundle on your Switch. Anyway, you can play this game is fine, but just stay away from the RTX one. I tried it once on my laptop and my house burned down. See you guys next time. Hopefully this year.